Hi everyone, it's about 7:30 East and it's about 6:30 Central on this Saturday, October 27th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Uh, we have a serious situation going on in the Northeast, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the week. Some people may not have believed me and said, this kid is just out of his mind. Well, folks, it's going on right now. Well, not necessarily right now, but there are watches and warnings. There are issues going on, and this will impact the whole Northeast. It's just how it's going to go here, folks. There are major implications from this storm. Major. All right. This is going to be serious. This is going to be possibly a storm that we will never see. A storm of this magnitude possibly won't hit the Northeast again for years and years to come, if not never. This is just so intense that it's you can't really put it into words. It's just so strong and historical. So, without a further ado, let's talk a little about the watches and the warnings that are out there. Well, first of all, notice all these tropical watches and warnings here. Most of these are eventually gonna leave, since this storm is gonna become what we call hybrid, and I will explain more about that a little bit later on in my video. We'll go into depth about that. So with that being said, since we cannot have tropical watches or warnings being posted, if you have tropical insurance or like hurricane insurance, that this will not be covered under that. You will probably need to be talking with your normal insurance company, or if you have flood insurance, that may go pretty well. This could definitely help as well for people who will be impacted by flooding. This is going to be a serious storm. This is going to be very serious. So let's sort of explain some of the dynamics of the storm. So you see this massive swirl out in here. You see, here is Sandy, okay, and you see this thing in here, back out in the Midwest. Well, right now, what's going on as we speak, okay, all of these things are sort of going to interact with each other, all right, and also, if you notice over by this NOAA logo, there's this area of blue energy, okay. And this area of energy, and this and this trough, and this and Sandy, and this other area of low pressure are all going to interact with each other. Okay, this is a very serious situation. All right, and this may never happen again. This doesn't normally happen. What's going to happen here is this area of energy is going to kind of come down to the trough. Later on tonight, I anticipate this trough to become what we call negatively tilted. Okay, the trough will probably stall out right in here and sort of curve like this, or maybe even further to the west, something like this. Okay, you'll see more of a trough like that instead of the trough being like this, and that is because of the fact that we have this energy out here, all right, out here into parts of the Central Plains, all right. Now, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is this energy that gets pulled into the trough is going to sort of move along. It's going to cause a dent. It's going to cause the trough to be what we call, like I said, negatively tilted. And as this happens, this moisture is going to get captured. Well, not necessarily captured, but it's going to get pulled into Sandy. Okay? And this is when Sandy will become very explosive. This energy that gets pulled into Sandy. This is the reason why Sandy is going to become such a massive storm. Also, we have this area of low pressure here. Now, normally, if we didn't have so much blocking, this would be more to the north. But to be honest with you, this area of low pressure is in here because of the massive blocking that we're seeing up in Greenland. Okay, so all of these things have an interaction with each other, and that is what's making this thing so historical. There are there's clouds from Sandy going all the way up into Canada. Right now is all of New England. The clouds that you're seeing are associated with this with this tropical system. It's very large in when it comes in terms of the space it encompasses here. There are clouds as far west as the Ohio River Valley from Sandy. This is just such a big storm. This is going to be historical on many levels. So moving on here. Here is what some of the models are saying. This is going to be the what the plots here for the models are. Now at this time, the tracks are moving a little bit more north. The tracks are moving a little bit more to the north here as we move through time, which I do agree with. All of these tracks in here, I believe that these tracks here are going to move north, even more north as we move on. Because if we move back here, okay, what this, and let me sort of explain something. As this trough tilts negative, what this is going to go ahead and allow this to do is actually come back out to sea for a little bit. All right, and when that happens, Sandy will yet again gain some more energy, and then she will move right into the northeast. Okay, I think the southernmost part of her track will probably be through the Atlantic City area and as far north as parts of Long Island, with a center track going right into New York City. But we'll see what happens with that. This storm may do some interesting things here. I mean, yes, it's possible that these tracks are right, and we'll just have to see what happens with the models. But I have been noticing a shift towards the north. So just keep that in mind. So I'm thinking these models in here are doing a fairly good job at depicting depicting the situation. So those are the models here, but even still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where. For those of you who are like, well, look at this storm center. I mean, if it hits southern New Jersey, then those people up here into New England won't have to deal with anything. No. This is so huge. This is so intense that if you live up in northern Maine or central Maine, you are going to get impacted by this. All right? It is just so large. It's very, very large. So, and the wind field that it will be covering. Now, another thing here is if this center moves through New Jersey, we will be talking about the wind, a tropical storm wind field that will be going all the way out through parts of northern New England. Okay, so this is really where the line is for where tropical storm force winds will be. May even be further to the north than that. Hurricane force winds? Well, hurricane force winds will be right about to here. Actually, no. Sorry about that. That they will actually be encompassing this area. Okay? And actually, the southern side of the storm will not really be where the strongest winds are. All right? Not to say that there won't be any winds down in here as the storm is moving through New Jersey, but this isn't where the strongest winds will be. The strongest rains are in this part. The strongest winds are in this part of the storm. So for those of you who live into southern New England, this is going to be a very major situation. All right. So the major situation with winds will be happening in southern New England. The major rain situation will be going on into the mid-Atlantic, and with the center of the storm moving right in here. All right. It's a big storm, folks. Okay. So there will still be a lot of rain into here, just not as much as what they're going to be seeing down into parts of the Delmarva, where they could be picking up over 12 inches of rains. All right. So when I said that actually, before we do that, I want to just show you what the GFS, what the intensity forecasts are. If you look at this, most of them have it becoming a strong Category 1 before it starts weakening. Here are the GFS ensemble tracks. And again, notice how most of them take it through New Jersey. We also have some, most of them are taking it through New Jersey. And then eventually, as that happens, they even sort of loop this thing around and then have it coming more north. I believe that this thing will be lingering for a long time. This could be affecting us for a good 5 days, 10 days. This could be lasting for quite some time. Now, the winds won't be lasting for 10 days, but the rains and clouds and even some snow showers into portions that will be occurring with this thing for 10 days will be from Sandy. So as you can see, most of the GFS ensembles are in line with everything. Here is the ensemble intensities, and there is some models indicating that this will become a tropical storm and then strengthen and then again weaken. But we'll see what happens with that. I think that there's a chance. I think that the chances of I think from here she will strengthen. She'll probably strengthen and then she will weaken, something more like that instead of a weaken then strengthen. I think it'll be going through a strengthening trend. All right, so that's the situation when it comes in terms of the GFS ensembles. So when I was saying about storm being hybrid, right now the winds are not really that large because this storm is starting. It's starting to become cold core, but it's not entirely cold core. Now, what am I talking about here? Well, tropical systems, their core is normally warm. Okay, and this is very important to understand here because when you have a very warm core low pressure system, that means you are dealing with a full-fledged tropical system. All right, that's all there is to it. However, once a tropical system starts becoming cold, or when you start seeing these green, and in layman's terms, when you start seeing greens and blues and purples getting into the center part of the storm, you are now talking about a non-tropical system. You are now going to see these winds spread out, and you can start seeing that in here where you're seeing more winds being spread out here. You can sort of see how they are being spread out, but essentially though, you're gonna see this more as we move through time because again the core is gonna become more cold. All right, notice how now we have some blues in there, and this wind field, just to give you an idea of how big this wind field is eventually going to spread out. This is what it's like right now, but once this energy that we have coming down from the Midwest goes right into Sandy, you are going to go ahead and see this storm, storm, and this is where you see that happen, and this is the energy. You essentially see that energy going right into right into Sandy. That energy from the Midwest gets brought right in, and this is where she explodes. All right. Now, notice how the winds now are also becoming very strong. Notice how this wind field from Sandy goes as far west as the Great Lakes and parts of Illinois. That is how big this system will be. Okay, there will be some winds associated with it back out into parts of the Great Lakes. Notice how this storm system becomes even more cold core. Okay, notice these dark blues. That is showing you here that this storm is purely a cold core low, which means that there isn't really many tropical characteristics to it, or that the storm has now gone extratropical. However, it's still a very intense storm system as it's making landfall, and and that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of rain with it. That doesn't mean the winds are any less. It just means the center of the low pressure is not warm. And actually, in some cases, that's worse. That we're going extratropical or hybrid with this thing. That's worse in some cases. So, and this is one of those cases. And notice how this low pressure system sort of lingers around. This is by Tuesday. You can see how this thing is still around by Wednesday. You can see by Thursday this low finally starts moving out, but it's still around by next Friday. There's still, the low is just getting in now into Canada, and then it sticks around in Maine by next Saturday and starts moving out finally into Canada by the 3rd. So by the 3rd, we will finally be talking about the storm exiting the region. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. Now, what about when it comes in terms of what the models are thinking here? All right, what about rain? I mean, I already did show you here mostly, but I want to sort of show you more picture here. Let's look at the 18Z GFS and show you just how intense this storm is. I'm not going to show you the whole run of the GFS, but here is the storm, and just look at the storm going right into New Jersey. It's just a very strong system, and this just look at this. If this were to actually verify, we would be talking about major flooding into parts of central New Jersey, and again those very strong winds out into southern New England. This is a very scary situation here, and that's the end of the period. I'm not going to go to 364 or 384 hours out. Because right now we don't really want to know about that. Right now the main concern is what's going on right now, not what's going to happen later on. Here is the Euro, and you can see it takes it right into about Atlantic City. But even still, I mean, it doesn't mean that just again, I want to get this message across. Just because it's hidden in Atlantic City doesn't mean that southern New England is not going to get a lot of wind. They will. They could actually get the worst of the wind in southern New England, to be quite honest with you. So, you know, we'll see what happens here. You can see the storm lingers around for a while, then it eventually skirts itself out. Eventually. Let's look at the Navy model here, and you'll see yet again it's the same exact picture. I mean, you'll see how essentially, I mean, this does take it a little bit more north, but essentially it would be the same exact impacts if it were to be moving right through Massachusetts rather than going into New Jersey. Or even if it went through Maine, there would be the same exact impacts. It's just such a large storm. So by the end of the period, according to the Navy, there's a major trough coming in. The Canadian has been going through some issues on this website, so I'll just show you the Japanese model here. So here's the Japanese, and you can see it takes it right into, I mean, you can see the storm goes right in through New Jersey, and it's just the same exact thing. I mean, major. It's just gonna be major overall. I mean, I can. I don't know. I can't stress it enough. Let's look at some of the wave models here. Actually, I should do the East Coast instead, not the Atlantic Basin. All right, this is going to go ahead and show you some of the waves that will be coming in here, and some people are sort of making this not sound intense, but this is going to be intense. I mean, look at some of these wave heights. We're talking about some areas picking up waves 30 to 42 feet. All right, or 30 to 36 foot waves. I mean, in some areas, this is just going to be well over 18 feet. I mean, well over 18 feet along the Cape. Parts of, I wouldn't be surprised if parts of the Cape saw even higher than that. It's just going to be so major. It's just going to be so major. So, I hope you all get the picture of what I'm trying to say here. So here are my impact graphics. And as you can see, my forecast confidence is about 90% right now, which is fairly high. So, because a meteorologist can never be 100% confident about something. But this is my forecast. And this goes ahead and shows you that there will probably be 80-mile-an-hour winds right along the eastern seaboard. Again, the heaviest winds will be from northern New Jersey through southern Maine, through portions of Maine. It may not extend this far north, but it will extend pretty far north. Don't get me wrong. And again, these are gusts. These are not sustained winds. There will be gusts 70 to 80 miles an hour through northern Maine, through northern New England, down into portions of New Jersey. Again, excuse me. 60 to 70, then you get 50 to 60, 40 to 50, and then 30 to 40 back out here into the Great Lakes. There is, yes, a snow portion to this storm, and that is into parts of Western Virginia, where there is a winter storm watch. There is a winter storm watch out into parts of Virginia. Some localized areas could pick up over 2 feet of snow. Some areas could locally pick up over 4 feet of snow. It's going to be a very major storm. All right, flooding is very likely from down in actually this green area should come down here and actually probably encompass this area instead, because this is really where the heavy rains will be. This is really where the most intense of the rains will be. Flooding is likely north of this area, but we'll see what happens. I'll probably be fixing this a little bit later on, but essentially I think you all get the picture. Power outages. Power outages will be expected from southern Maine all the way down to Washington, D.C. Potential landfall, I think it'll be making landfall somewhere along the coast of New Jersey or along the coast of Long Island. So that is the situation here, folks. That is my idea on Sandy. It's a major situation. I understand that. But I hope you all get the picture, and I hope you all stay safe and have a great rest of your day.